They said she'd planned it like a scene in a movie. The kind where the leaving is dramatic, the rain timed, the size arranged so everyone else in the room knows what a loss they're witnessing. She told me, with that steady, rehearsed calm she saves for goodbyes, that she needed space, that she couldn't do the smallness of our life anymore. You'll understand someday, she said, folding the words like a napkin. You'll see why I had to go. She smiled as if she'd already fast-forwarded to the part where I groveled at her feet and begged her back. I'd heard that smile before. It was the same one she used when she corrected me in front of friends. The same one that turned kindness into spectacle. She left at noon with a suitcase that fit the polished version of her life. There was a neatness to it. The curtain closing of a door rather than the messy negotiation of a wrecked life. She wanted an exit with applause. I did not beg. I watched her move out like a man watching shadows shift on the wall. Interested, measured, strangely calm. I packed the drawers she'd called organized and folded the shirts she'd said looked tired. I put the photographs in a box in their frames without breaking the glass. I folded one of her scarves, the one that smelled like the shampoo she used on Sundays, and placed it on top, not as an insult but as a relic. Her keys went into a small ceramic dish by the door, and I set them there like an offering to a life that no longer wanted me in it. Leaving is an act of theater for some people, for others it is a ledger. I preferred ledgers. She'd expected sorrow, a storm of pleading, perhaps a public implosion that would make her feel both powerful and compassionate. Instead she found a man whose face had the soft blankness of someone who'd already decided what he would keep. The first week was a study in practicalities. I filed the mail she'd left unopened. I returned her subscriptions to sender. I changed passwords on joint accounts and moved a few small things into my name. Utilities, the insurance, the joint credit card. Because aftermath is rarely about vengeance and more about the quiet work of rearranging what a life needs to stand. People took sides with the speed of a town deciding which rumor to fund. Her friends texted condolences that read like stage directions. Call me if you need anything. Our mutual friends treated me with the awkward condolence reserved for people who have not yet learned how to live alone. My parents called and asked if I was okay. I told them I was fine and they believed me because they wanted to. I felt the expected ache, yes, the dull animal absence of someone who once shared the small rituals. But underneath it, there was something else, a steady, cool clarity. It is difficult to be dramatic when you are busy moving your life to a more honest address. She thought the empty apartment would turn me into a ghost, pale, begging, easy to gather. Instead it became a workshop. I started with the obvious. The stack of receipts from dinners she had spent with colleagues, the nights she'd claimed as late shifts. I retrieved emails that had been dismissed as work noise and made them durable. Small discrepancies in calendars were turned into patterns. If she thought a late-night text here or a borrowed excuse there was harmless, she had not accounted for the geometry of evidence. I was not rebuilding to punish her. I was building to be untouchable by her narratives. Word leaked through friends like slow perfume. She blinked as social accounts reshaped themselves around her absence. There were calls, some apologetic, some curious. She phoned once to expect a drama. I gave her something colder. "When are you coming back?" she asked, anticipating that she'd tug at the leash that tied me to our shared life. "Not coming back," I said. My voice was plain and calm. There was no flourish in it. It simply held the fact steady, like a hand on a railing. She hesitated, as if she'd misread a page of her script. "I packed some things you might want," I added. "You can pick them up this afternoon." "No," she said, a little sharp now. Shock has a way of making people impatient. "James, can't we? We already tried the arrangements that suited you," I said. "They didn't work for me." I ended the call before she could find a new version of her lines. If the goal of leaving was to break me in public, feed her friends a story of a man undone, I had another goal. To make her watch the consequences of her choice land, not as a spectacle, but as a pattern she could not ignore. So I took care with the practical. I sold the car she said was too old, the one she'd actually used on weekends. I moved the joint accounts into a structure that reflected what was owed and what needed to stay. I paid off debts we'd both discussed and transferred the small emergency fund into an account she could not touch. Not vindicatively, just responsibly. I also made small, private choices. I rejoined the gym she'd mocked. I took the course she'd laughed off as aspirational. I reopened the notebook where I had once written something like, "If she can't stand the real you, build the work that outlives her laughter." The notebook smelled like coffee and saved drafts. I filled it with the slow accumulation of an honest life. Job applications, a plan to move the business I'd dreamed of out of the papers, and into a garage with friends who liked the work for its own sake.